Have you ever wondered, why is my blood sugar so high, even though I've cut out sugar from my diet? It's frustrating, right? You've been avoiding sugar, ditching the bread, and passing on desserts, yet your blood sugar seems to be going in the opposite direction. Maybe you've even had your doctor look at you as if you're lying about sticking to a healthy routine. But hold on, this isn't as complicated as it seems. There's a hidden factor here that most people don't consider when they think about their blood sugar levels. We're often led to believe that blood sugar issues are entirely related to what we eat: sugar, starches, and carbs. But here's the twist. This is only half the picture. Let me introduce you to an unsung hero of the body: your liver. Your liver isn't just there for detoxification or as a filter. It has over 500 functions, and one of the most important ones is producing sugar. That's right, your liver is a sugar factory. Even if you're not eating sugar, your liver will create the sugar your body needs. It's a critical part of the metabolic process. Your body requires a small amount of sugar to function. The tissues that rely on it include parts of your brain and your kidneys, to name a few. These tissues depend on sugar, so when you go on a low-carb or low-sugar diet, your liver steps up to meet the demand. In the absence of sugar from food, your liver converts fats and proteins into glucose to fuel these essential tissues. It's a sophisticated system at work, and it's crucial for survival. So, why does your blood sugar remain high despite not eating sugar? Well, there's another key factor at play: insulin. Insulin is the body's off switch for sugar production. The process is simple. When your body has enough insulin, it signals your liver to stop producing sugar. But here's the catch: if your insulin levels are too low or ineffective, your liver keeps producing sugar even when you're not eating it. So, what's causing this to happen? Here's where it gets tricky. Many of us unknowingly abuse insulin for years, especially when consuming large amounts of carbohydrates. When this happens over a long period, say 10 to 15 years, the cells in the body become desensitized to insulin. Essentially, the cells begin to ignore the off signal, leading to insulin resistance. When insulin resistance sets in, your liver doesn't get the signal to stop producing sugar. In fact, it believes it needs to produce even more sugar because there's no off switch working. You may have been eating carbs for decades, and although your blood sugar test might show normal levels, the damage may already be done. Your body could be flooding your bloodstream with insulin, trying to clear out sugar, but over time, this flood leads to insulin resistance. This explains why some people develop high blood sugar levels without necessarily consuming a lot of sugar or carbs. And here's an important fact: the insulin resistance and high insulin levels don't immediately show up on your blood sugar test. For years, your insulin might be working overtime, clearing sugar from your bloodstream, and everything seems normal. But then, at some point, the insulin becomes overwhelmed, and suddenly, there isn't enough insulin left to manage the sugar. That's when your blood sugar starts to rise. By now, you're probably wondering how you can get back on track, right? How do you fix this? Well, don't worry. It's not as difficult as it might seem. Let's break this down and show you exactly what you can do to regain control of your blood sugar and insulin levels. But first, let's dive into the role of stress and how it affects your blood sugar levels. Because yes, stress can make things even worse. Stay tuned. Let's talk about another major player in the blood sugar game: stress. You've probably heard that stress can affect your health, but did you know that stress also plays a massive role in raising your blood sugar levels? Here's how it works. Stress triggers the release of cortisol, a hormone that prepares your body for fight or flight. Cortisol helps you deal with stressful situations, but it also signals your liver to release sugar into your bloodstream. When cortisol is elevated for long periods, whether from daily stress or even from stress-related medications like prednisone, your blood sugar levels can skyrocket. This is one reason why people with chronic stress often have higher blood sugar, which over time can increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. In fact, if you're under constant stress, your body may be releasing more sugar than it can effectively handle. This constant release of glucose can leave you feeling drained, sluggish, and out of control, all while increasing your chances of insulin resistance. In many cases, the blood sugar issue isn't caused by your diet alone. It's the stress your body is under that's exacerbating the problem. And it's not just the mental stress that matters. Physical stress like not getting enough sleep or overexercising can trigger cortisol spikes too. If you wake up in the morning and find your blood sugar is high, but you didn't consume any sugar the day before, it might be the result of something called the dawn phenomenon. This is a natural rise in cortisol that happens early in the morning, typically around 8:00 a.m., causing an increase in blood sugar. So, if your blood sugar is high in the morning and you're not eating sugar, this could be due to cortisol's effect on your liver, which continues to churn out glucose even when you're fasting. But don't worry, this is a key sign that your liver is still working overtime. This issue is often rooted in long-term insulin resistance, something you may not have even been aware of until now. So, how do you fix this? First of all, if you're waking up with high blood sugar, it's a good sign that your liver is producing more sugar than your body needs. But you're not stuck with this issue. There are steps you can take to get your blood sugar back under control. One of the most effective methods is to reduce the amount of carbs in your diet. And when I say carbs, I mean both sugars and starches. It's not just about cutting out sweet treats. You also need to avoid starchy foods like bread, pasta, and even foods with hidden sugars like certain sauces or packaged snacks. Start reading labels carefully. You'd be surprised at how many foods have added sugars or starches that you wouldn't expect. Foods like maltodextrin and modified food starches are common culprits that you'll want to avoid. But it's not just about what you eat, it's also about when you eat. You may be accustomed to snacking between meals, but this habit can be detrimental to your blood sugar management. Most people snack because they feel hungry, but in reality, this is often a psychological craving driven by a dopamine response, not true hunger. That's right, this so-called dopamine hunger comes from the reward centers of the brain. Eating something that's highly processed or contains MSG can trigger this cycle, leaving you hungry again just an hour or so after your meal. But real hunger doesn't work this way. So, what should you do? You need to eliminate the habit of snacking, especially at night. Instead, focus on having 2 to 3 balanced meals per day and ideally skip breakfast. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but trust me, fasting until noon and having 2 larger meals around noon and 6 p.m. will help regulate your blood sugar. And once you're done with dinner, keep the kitchen closed. No snacking, no temptation. Now, the next step is to change the way you shop. Next time you go to the grocery store, make sure you have a list of foods that avoid anything processed or designed for snacking. The aisles filled with chips, cookies, and sugary bars might seem tempting, but if you truly want to control your blood sugar, you need to stay away from them. For decades, the idea of eating multiple meals a day has become a norm, but this constant eating can throw off your metabolism. Try to stick to whole, unprocessed foods and stay away from the ultra-processed junk that floods most grocery stores today. By eliminating carbs, cutting out unnecessary snacking, and focusing on wholesome meals, you're already on the right path. But there's still one more important aspect to address: stress management. Reducing stress is crucial in controlling blood sugar levels and preventing further insulin resistance. Getting enough sleep, regular exercise, even something as simple as a daily walk, and time spent outdoors in the sun are all effective ways to lower stress. Simply being outside and soaking in natural light can dramatically reduce stress levels compared to sitting under harsh fluorescent office lights. Stay with me because in the next part, we'll dive deeper into how you can continue to heal insulin resistance and get your body back on track. And remember, it's not going to happen overnight, but with consistency and the right steps, you'll start seeing positive changes in your blood sugar levels. Keep watching. Now that we've covered the basics of reducing carbs, cutting out snacking, and managing stress, let's talk about how to tackle insulin resistance in a way that really gets results. The truth is, reversing insulin resistance isn't something that happens overnight. It requires a long-term commitment, especially if your fasting insulin levels are on the higher end. The goal here is to give your body time to reset and heal. If your fasting insulin is above 12, it indicates that you're dealing with significant insulin resistance, and this may take several months to correct. However, don't be discouraged. This process is entirely possible with the right steps. The first thing you need to do is consistently lower your insulin levels. This means sticking to a low-carb diet for an extended period. Insulin resistance can only heal when your body isn't constantly overproducing insulin. The key here is to keep insulin levels low enough, long enough to allow your cells to become more sensitive to insulin again. This process is gradual, and depending on your body, it might take weeks, months, or even over a year. But the good news is that it will happen if you remain consistent with your dietary and lifestyle changes. So don't expect quick fixes, but know that with patience, you're moving in the right direction. In addition to dietary changes, incorporating regular physical activity will help. Walking, for example, is one of the best exercises for controlling blood sugar. It's simple, low impact, and incredibly effective at using up glucose for energy. Just 30 minutes a day of walking can help improve your insulin sensitivity and lower your blood sugar levels. It doesn't require a gym membership or expensive equipment, just a good pair of shoes and the commitment to get moving. And if you've been dealing with insulin resistance for a long time, be prepared for this healing process to take time. Your body's receptors are sluggish, but with sustained effort, they'll gradually start responding better to insulin. Remember, this isn't a race, it's a marathon. So, now that we've covered the fundamentals of managing blood sugar and insulin resistance, let's wrap things up with some practical tips you can start implementing today. First and foremost, get comfortable with the idea of fasting. Intermittent fasting, particularly skipping breakfast and limiting eating to just 2 meals a day, can be incredibly beneficial for stabilizing blood sugar. By allowing your body to fast for 16 hours, such as from 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. the next day, you give your liver and pancreas the time they need to reset and start regulating blood sugar more efficiently. Another important aspect is the food you eat when you do eat. Stick to whole, nutrient-dense foods that are low in carbohydrates and free from processed sugars and additives. Focus on healthy fats, high-quality proteins, and plenty of vegetables. Avoid packaged snacks, sugary drinks, and anything that's been altered or refined. Eating like this ensures that your body isn't overloaded with unnecessary carbs or insulin-spiking foods. You're giving it the right fuel it needs to maintain stable blood sugar levels. Lastly, focus on your stress levels and sleep. If you're constantly stressed or sleep-deprived, it's going to be much harder for your body to heal. Chronic stress leads to prolonged cortisol spikes, and poor sleep disrupts your body's natural rhythms, making it harder for insulin to work effectively. Aim for at least 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep every night, and try to incorporate some relaxation techniques like deep breathing, meditation, or simply spending time outdoors. Now, if you're not eating sugar and your blood sugar is still high, don't panic. This problem is solvable, and with the right steps, you can turn things around. You're not crazy, and your body isn't betraying you. It's simply a matter of understanding how your liver, insulin, and stress levels are interacting to create this imbalance. With patience and consistency, you can fix this issue and restore your blood sugar levels to normal. And remember, this isn't just about the food you eat, it's a holistic approach to lifestyle, including diet, exercise, stress management, and sleep. If you want to dive deeper into how your liver functions and how it affects your overall health, I've created another video that explores this topic in great detail. You'll find it right here. Check it out. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who might benefit from it. Take control of your health today, and remember you're on the path to healing.